Elizabeth is not here. She's been in California for the past week and a half visiting her mother. So I'm going to make myself a simple plate meal for dinner.
Tiny House Prepper.
Hi everybody, I'm Bill with Tiny House Prepper, and for dinner this evening, since I'm here alone, I'm going to be making myself a simple plate from Thrive Life. This is the Chicken Crepes with Cranberry apple chutney. You can see it right there. I like this meal. You know, Elizabeth has to eat gluten-free, and this one is not gluten-free because there's wheat in the crepe batter. So this is actually a good time for me to make this for myself. Now if she was here, we could make it gluten-free because she can make up her own crepe batter using Thrive's wonderful gluten-free flour. It's actually the best gluten-free flour that we've found. So she just makes up her own batter, and we do it that way, and it works fine. But I'm just going to be able to make it as it is with the flour that's in the wheat in the crepes, and that'll be my dinner this evening. Now the simple plate meals are very easy. They come in a box like this, about the size of a cereal box, and everything that you need is inside of the box. This is the recipe card. It tells you all the ingredients on the one side and what you need, and then on the other side is the actual directions. And notice that you cook by numbers. It's very, very simple. Each package has a number on it. Number 2, it corresponds to the directions on the card, the recipe card. So let's get started. So first we start by mixing up the crepe batter. Number 1. There's a little notch there, it pulls right open. And this says to mix it with 3/4 of a cup plus 3 tablespoons of water. So that's pretty exact. And mix it until it's smooth. Crepes is basically just pancake batter, but it's much thinner so that the crepes will cook up thinner than pancakes. So now I've mixed it until it's smooth, and it should coat the spoon but run off. Shouldn't stick to it. So now it says to let that rest for 5 minutes. So now for step 2, we're going to do the chutney. Chutney is basically just a sauce that goes over the top, and this has got cranberries and apples in it. And it says to put it in a blender, basically to break it up. Crushed chutney blend in a blender or a bag. I don't have a blender. The only thing I have is a magic bullet, and if I would put this in there, that's so fast it would turn it to powder in a couple seconds. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to crush the cranberries a little bit in the bag. Break it up into smaller pieces. When it's dry like that, it breaks up very easily. And then for the apples, they're not going to crush, but when they're dry, they do break up pretty quickly. Just snap them up into little pieces. And then the directions say to add, here's a little bottle that they gave us of apple cider vinegar. If I was making this for 4, I should use the whole thing. Since this is a serving for 2, this is the classic meal serving for 2, I'm supposed to use half of this. Now the neat thing about the simple plate meals is that if there's something that you don't like, just don't put it in. I'm not a real fan of apple cider vinegar, so I am going to add a little bit, but only about half as much as what they say to use. It also says here to use cinnamon. I don't like cinnamon at all, so I'm just leaving that out. A dash of salt. and 1/2 cup of water, and then bring to a simmer. So now I add 1/2 cup of water. Stir it up a little bit. Then put it on there to heat up and simmer for a minute. Oop. I also see in step 2 I'm supposed to add chives. Here's another one for step 2, and this is chives. So I'll just pour that in. Now it's boiling, so I'll turn it way down to simmer for a minute. Now for step 3, I'm going to start with garlic. And I have a couple of tablespoons of oil in there. And I'm just going to brown the garlic for a second. Doesn't take long. And then 1.5 cups of water. And chicken and wild rice mixture. Now I bring that to a boil and let it simmer for 5 to 6 minutes. It looks like the chutney is about done simmering, so I'm going to shut that off. So this chicken and wild rice is the filler for the crepes, and it's been boiling, simmering for 6 minutes. So I'm going to add to it sweetened cranberries. And veggie mix. And the seasoning blend. Mix that up and let it simmer for an additional 3 or 4 minutes. Now you can see the filling is almost finished, and this is just chicken and wild rice, some vegetables, and some cranberry, and a bunch of herbs and spices. So now the only other thing I need to add to that is a sauce blend with cheese. This is just this bechamel white sauce and some sour cream powder and some mozzarella cheese. And that's all that's in there. Mix that in and then let it simmer for 1 more minute. Nice and creamy and cheesy. See how it's thickening up as well. I'll just let that simmer for another minute and we'll be ready to make the crepes. So now you can see the filling is finished. So I'll set that aside and then put on the pan for the crepes. Now they say to use a Teflon pan, but we don't have Teflon, we don't use Teflon. So I'm using our cast iron. Good old cast iron. So now I think the pan is hot enough. I'm going to use 1/3 cup of the batter. And you don't want this to be too thick. It's got to be fairly runny. If you make it too thick, it'll turn into pancakes instead of crepes. Because you want them to be thin. Alright, now I'm going to flip it. Cook it just for a minute. And pour in the next one. So now I'm finished with the crepes, and this made 4 crepes. So I'm going to put some of the filling inside of each one. Wrap it up. I think that's a little too much. So that's the chicken and rice filling. And then I take some of the apple and cranberry chutney sauce and pour over the top of it. Just like that. Looks pretty good to me. What do you think? So here we have chicken cranberry crepes with apple cranberry chutney, and I'm going to enjoy it. This is one of my favorite simple plate meals. It's not sweet, it's very good. And you know, I get questions all the time by people wanting to know if simple plate meals are full of sodium, if they're full of cholesterol, that sort of thing. Think about what I just did here. I had all those little packets. One was the batter for the crepes. One was the chicken and rice. One was the vegetable mix. Then we had the chutney, which was just apples and cranberries. And then there was a sauce mix, which was just a little bit of bechamel white sauce and some sour cream. And what else was in that? Some mozzarella cheese. And then it was just a packet of seasoning. And you saw the seasoning, it wasn't a whole lot of MSG and salt and all that kind of stuff. It was basically just some herbs, some green herbs that we poured in there. And if there's any salt in here, it's very, very little, just enough for a little bit of flavoring. And it's just not loaded with stuff. It's not loaded with junk. I think people see the package and they think pre-packaged means full of stuff, means full of sodium, means full of cholesterol, full of fillers. As you can see, you saw me cook it. There's nothing in here that's bad for you. It's just good, clean, wholesome food. And I'm going to enjoy it. So if you'd like to check it out, go ahead and look at the link down below. It'll take you to my Thrive website, and you can see it there. Good stuff. Good stuff. Love Thrive Life. My favorites: peas, chicken, ground beef, shredded beef, yum, peppers, mushrooms. Tonight I opened a can of soup for supper, threw in some Thrive Life tomatoes, celery, and had a great meal. Sometimes I throw in some chicken or ground beef. So good, so easy, no waste. Always trying something new. Thanks, Bill and Elizabeth. Nancy. Hey, have you heard about Thrive's customer referral program? This is really cool. If you are a Thrive customer and you have a friend who you think would enjoy Thrive, you can refer them. And when you do, they get 20% off of retail price on their very first delivery order. And then when they place that order, then you would earn 10% of their order in free food for yourself. This is just really cool. You will get a link that is just for you, that you can share that link with your friends, and when they use that link to go to the Thrive website and join the delivery service, then they will get 20% off and you'll get 10% of free food. Let me show you how this works. Just go to the Thrive website and log into your account, and you'll know that you're logged in because it'll have your name up here. And then once you do that, you just go up here to where it says share, come down to refer a friend. Now it brings you to this page, refer a friend, and see it says give 20%, get 10%. When you refer a friend, your friend gets 20% off their first delivery order, and you get 10% in free product for yourself. So how does this work? Scroll down a little bit, and right here you see a link. Copy link, or you can just highlight it, right click and copy like that. Just share this link with your friend. You can just email it to them. You can put it in a Facebook post, whatever you want to do. Just give this link out. This is your own personal, unique link. No one else has this. And when your friend clicks on that to go to the Thrive website and then joins the delivery service, then they will get the 20% and you get 10% of free. It's that simple. It's that easy. Now, in order for this to work, it has to be their first purchase. They can't have been a previous Thrive customer. It has to be a new customer. Also, they have to join the delivery program for their first order. It doesn't apply if they place a one-time order through the shopping cart. But when they join the delivery service, then they get the 20% off on their first order. So there you go. Refer a friend. Get them 20% off on their first order, and you earn free food. How cool is that?